What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is United vs. Everybody. I am your host, Sean, and we are back with a match preview. I know it feels like it's been forever because, well, quite frankly, it has been forever, right? It's been a couple weeks. You guys know I don't really watch international qualifiers or friendlies, but we are back, and it's a big match. It is the first Manchester Derby of the season. And I know two managers right now who could use 3 points at the moment. Both managers are under a little bit of pressure. Pep's struggling. Amorim really needs to start putting some good faith in the bank for the fans, probably for Ineos, maybe even a little bit of the players. We're talking that today. We're talking tactics. We're talking team news. We're getting predictions as well. And as we go along, you guys, please just put in the chat some of your favorite Derby memories that you can think of. Maybe McTominay's long-range screamer from just before lockdown might be in there for some people. Maybe just lifting that FA Cup in 23-24 is probably one of my favorite memories for the Derby. Get those in as we go along. I want to hear what everybody's thoughts are on some of that. And then later on, I'll ask for you guys' help when it comes to some score predictions for the weekend. So maybe you guys can help me win some money. So we're going to talk all that today, you guys. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you check those memberships to learn how you can get more involved in the channel, from scouting report suggestions, what if episode idea suggestions. Legends members, you can even join in on the weekly kickabout with Dylan and I as we talk about the last week. Legends do have the opportunity to do that as well. So check those memberships out. Go check out the UVE store too. Tons of new designs. Who's involved in the chat already, you guys? Lucky already getting in. It's already getting our predictions in. Big up, Lucky. Hope you're doing well. Lucky wants to see Copy Menu get a start. We're going to talk about that a little bit. I want to know you guys starting 11 later on. Well, you know the drill by now, right? We do it all. We look at starting 11s. We look at score predictions. We look at all that stuff. So big up, Lucky. Good to see you again, my friend. Lucky thinks we're going to shut Holland. Yeah, we usually do pretty well about shutting them down. Big up, Danny. Yes, please hit that like button. How are you guys doing? It's Friday. What's everybody got planned for the weekend besides watching the Derby? Yeah, we got some interesting news. Yeah, Danny, I saw that earlier. So we got Etienne Mendy, I think, and Mohamed Dabo, I believe, are them. They're two 17-year-old Senegalese players who are currently on trial with United's academy. And I'm not sure that anything is finalized yet, but it does look like we got a couple of little academy trialists on. So maybe that has to do with Vivell, man. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, like Danny says, currently on trial. Look good. Yeah, I do like to see looking around. Vivell's obviously tapping into that African market, and a lot of clubs are doing that as well. We've done a lot of scouting reports in the past, and a lot of those players did come from special camps that had relationships with other clubs. Clubs like Salzburg and whatnot have these relationships with those academies out in Africa and whatnot. And so it's really good to see that. I like to utilize that sort of talent, build the academy. It's what we saw when we were linked. Who was that other Malian winger that I don't know if we ever signed. And then obviously Sekou Kone as well. But yeah, Danny, if he's working his magic, I got no problem with that. I do like having someone who's kind of looking at those sort of players, and then someone like Wilcox who's kind of looking at the more local homegrown talent, and then you've got someone like Barada as well. I do like having that a little bit. I trust Vivell a lot in that regard. Vivell is going to be that guy who the work he's doing, it's gonna bear fruit in like 2 or 3, 4 years when it comes to some of these players. We can keep them happy and stuff. So big up, Bexy's already getting the score predictions in. Yeah, let me know. I put a poll in the chat. Let me know, you guys, what you think the result's going to be. Do United get all 3 points? City get 3 points at home? Or could it be a draw? You guys let me know on the poll. We'll talk about that a little later on. I am Titanium. Welcome back. Says good evening, good afternoon. It is afternoon for me. As you can see, Thursdays and Fridays are usually client days, especially towards that afternoon. Today I started around 11. Had some clients working on, so literally just finished up around 2 o'clock, and then turned around and did this. So dressed to be a professional, but it is afternoon for me, man. Good to see everybody. Let me see what you guys. Danny's got some football and boxing this weekend. Big up. Can he mend our club? We'll see, man. We will see. Teresa, welcome back. Says United will win. This Amorim's aim depends on if the chosen team play by the rules. Well, I don't think we ever have to worry about City weren't playing by the rules. I think that they just the way they, and it's going to be a whole thing. We're going to talk about it a little bit more because we got another club who's not quite playing by the rules that we're going to talk about for a little bit today. But City, we know how I feel about City. Everything they've done has got an asterisk next to it. I can't believe that there are City players up for the Hall of Fame because they've literally been relevant for what, less than half of the Premier League's existence. Basically, it's absolutely ridiculous. So, all right, let's move on because we got a lot to cover today. Not much in the way of transfer talk. I've seen some random articles linking us to some players from all over the place. You guys know anytime I see something coming from Team Talk, from Caught Offside, coming from Fricates and stuff, I just kind of continue living my life. When it gets to be more relevant, I've seen us link to some young players here and there. I'm not really buying it yet. We'll see how it goes, but not much transfer talk. But I did see an article, and you guys probably saw this too. So apparently United are, I don't know if it's official or if there's something that's on the table, but potentially scheduling some midweek friendlies throughout the season in an effort to bring in a little extra revenue. Obviously, we're not in Europe this year. It is what it is. And now, no EFL Cup anymore because reasons. But what that means is not only a little bit of banter from rivals, but it does mean a significant loss of revenue, especially European football. Not being in Champions League, losing that final, that was a big financial hit. I'm glad that it wasn't the financial hit that I was worried it was about in terms of our transfer market, but it is what it is. But then there's also the risk that maybe no midweek fixtures, maybe just 5-6 days between matches. Sometimes that can allow a little bit of rust to build up in between. So according to the Mirror, though, these friendlies could even, instead of just behind closed doors, these friendlies could basically be played in front of paying crowds. People would pay to do this. Even the Mirror mentions even over in like the Emirates or something, not the stadium, the country, the UAE. Other clubs who are not also in Europe could also play. AC Milan, Leipzig, et cetera, et cetera. I think Lazio, I can't remember off the top of my head. Those bigger clubs who could maybe draw a crowd. Basically, it would be like a little mini preseason matches spread throughout the season in an effort to just claw back a little revenue. We did make a significant chunk of change from the preseason stuff. And so I don't know how you guys feel about it. I feel like I'm compelled to say I don't like it simply because it's friendlies. And you guys know I don't like mid-season friendlies just for injury risk. And so I get the need maybe revenue-wise. I do not like the idea of just throwing more friendlies on there. I get it. It's not like it's extra football because we're not in Europe and stuff. I don't like friendly. If it's a competition like the League Cup or something, cool. That's fine. It's a competition. It's a legitimate thing. I don't know how I feel about this. Just for making, you probably make what, like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 mil. It is what it is. But I wonder if they were played at home or anything, if they'd be included in anybody's season ticket or not. Probably not. Honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised if they did this and they branded it in some way that made it seem like a whole other series or a whole other competition. Just call it the Losers Cup, basically. Would anybody go if they had the chance to? If they did any of this, would you guys go to any of these mid-season friendlies that potentially could take place? Maybe I might go, but the problem is again, it's any friendly, even the preseason stuff over here in the States. Like Dylan and I were talking the other day on the kick about, like, even the World Cup matches, even if it's like just random, if it was like Andorra and like Trinidad and Tobago, no offense, it would probably cost you a lot of money. It's several hundred a ticket to go to that here in just the World Cup in some rando city out in the middle of nowhere. If it was in the middle of like Utah or something, you'd have to pay several hundred. Like, shit's expensive over here when it comes to sports. We don't mess around because I think we recognize how much revenue is involved. But big up, Sanjay. Good to see you. Says, I'm having a few drinks. Actually, the owner is a United fan. Well, big up, man. You have to tell him to screen share this, put it on the TV. Everybody can watch it. Big up, Sanjay, man. I'm Titanium's talking about Hall of Fame. So Vidic was named 4 times the team of the season. Yeah, 2 times player of the year. And like, who else has done that as a defender? Like, Vidic should have already been in there. Giggsy should have already been in there. It's ridiculous. I Am Titanium says he'd actually gone with Vidic and Silva. I mean, the first and foremost from this year's nominees has to be Gary Neville. How anyone is looking past Gary Neville is beyond me. The guy's an absolute legend, probably the best right back this league has ever seen. I'm definitely going to go I mean, and this isn't even United bias. It's definitely got to be Neville and Vidic. Honestly, you just look at what Vidic has done. Look at what Gary Neville has done. Like to me, it picks itself. But again, it is subjective. Everybody can pick. I think Dylan went Carrick and Vidic. I don't remember off the top of my head, but it is what it is. Yeah, let me know what your thoughts are on the mid-season friendly potentially being a thing. Would you go to any of them? Do you like the idea of that or not? I'm not in favor of it personally, but again, I don't like the idea of putting players at risk. So I would hate to lose a player like Bruno or something to injury because for the sake of a few million quid in the midweek against like Lazio at like the UAE stadium or something. I just would hate that so much. So, oh boy. Nine Titanium says I'd pick G Neville next time. Hey, everybody's entitled, right? So interesting stuff. Let's move on because we were talking a little bit about City and how they don't like to play by the rules. Sorry, I got a dog hair on me. Chelsea, yeah. Remember when I said not to be like Chelsea? After all the violations and fines and transfer bans that Chelsea have been guilty of and been handed down over the years, they've now officially been charged by the FA for further violations regarding finances. 74 charges they've been charged. Now, again, this isn't something that Chelsea didn't see coming. This has a lot to do with Abramovich era stuff that the new owners came in, Clear Lake, Bowley, and all that stuff. They've discovered, reported it, but that doesn't exempt you from being, charged with stuff because the crimes happened, right? I've seen things like Hazard's transfers in there as well. Samuel Eto'o's transfers in there. Williams transfer is all under question as well in terms of the finances. So lots of different regulations and stuff in there. Obviously, you can see that they're citing a lot of regulations and stuff. Basically, so the first one, the J1C2, that has a lot to do with conduct, registration, and activities regarding football agents and the way they represent individuals. Now, this whole regulation controls basically how football agents operate. Now, agents, you have to take an exam. The exam has a lot to do with these regulations. All the questions are the intricacies of this, but they have to abide by rules. They have standards and regulations. The agents themselves, they have basically their own governing body. And so some of the charges have to do with this. Some of the charges have to do with working on intermediaries when it comes to clubs and transfer dealings and contracts. So intermediaries have to be registered. They have their own standards as well. There's got to be transparency regarding fees and commissions. And so that is under question as well. And then there's third-party investment charges. Now, this regulates or even prohibits third-party ownership and interest in players. And again, all of these regulations are there to maintain financial integrity. And so clearly, if Chelsea self-reported, that means there were instances where these rules were violated, and now they're being charged. 74 charges is a big deal. Now, Chelsea has gone on to claim they have shown unprecedented transparency. Yeah, unprecedented for Chelsea, maybe, but not for the world. Giving the regulators and arbitrators access to data and stuff. But again, Chelsea, there's nothing really to prove here. I think the matter now is to figure out what to do. Chelsea claim they have no sporting advantage. When you're circumventing regulations and you're hiding fees and payments and stuff, yeah, there is a bit of a sporting advantage when you're operating outside the restrictions that everybody else has to abide by. Yeah, you're gaining a sporting advantage. Now, punishment will be handed down. We'll see how it goes. According to Ben Jacobs, punishment here can range from a fine to a settlement, kind of like what we just saw with City and the FA as well, to sanctions, points deductions, transfer bans. Just give it to everyone. Now, again, this isn't a Todd Bowley mistake. He and his crew found this from the past books and reported it. But again, kind of like Sir Jim when it comes to the debt, you had every access. You knew what you were getting into. You bought the club still, so you kind of can't just escape with a little bit of impunity here. I think, like I said, I think the FA does believe it has a case against City. I think Everton, Forest, I think those set precedents. 74 charges against Chelsea for a lot of financial regulations is another precedent. I think they are in the same boat too, especially given their past violations and their history when it comes to transfers and loans and the way they've done things. I think that is not going to look good for them. Now, again, it's not the player's fault. It's not Todd Bowley's fault. It's just this is what you've inherited, and you did your diligence. You knew what you were buying. So you kicked the tires, you popped the hood, should have done that. Now, again, don't forget a couple months ago, remember that round of punishments were handed down by UEFA as well for a lot of fines, and Chelsea were a part of that along with Villa and some other clubs, Lyon too. So they've already got that going for them as well. They were given a big fine by that in terms of, I think it was like 27 million, and they had some shady financial dealings. Though there was also a provisional ban, I think, on registration for UEFA competitions for Chelsea unless they could find a way to balance their books. And I think some people have maybe just not heard a lot about this, or maybe they forgot. Chelsea are also potentially right now facing a class action lawsuit for allegedly sharing user website data, include things like video viewing history, and sharing all that with companies like Meta, Google, TikTok, and what's called tracking pixels, which violates privacy law. And so the lawsuit claims that Chelsea shared personal identifiable information, video watching history of its users without consent. So they're also facing a class action lawsuit for violating privacy law as well. This is why I say I never take Chelsea seriously or even consider them rivals, same as Man City. This the way they basically bought their status and the shady shit they've done to obtain that. I mean, this why. I think we can just assume that everything Abramovich did was illegal at this point when he came to Chelsea, and just all operate under that assumption. How about that? Let's see. I Am Titanium says no relegation. Oh yeah, we'll see what happens. Yeah, Lucky, there was big pressure, man. Big pressure on both managers today. So that was a little bit of news with Chelsea. I saw that popped up the other day. Obviously, I wanted to get your guys' thoughts. Obviously, nobody's going to have really good thoughts and opinions on Chelsea. But again, transfer, they got fined, potential ban from UEFA a couple months ago. And they've got this newest charge from stuff that happened during Abramovich. And they have, under Bully, they've been face a class action lawsuit for privacy information that they've shared illegally. So Chelsea could be fully boned in a couple months, man. How hilarious would that be? Have fun, Garnacho. Oh wait, my club doesn't exist anymore. Now what do I do? Oh man. I mean, that's not great for us. We do miss out on a little bit of a sell on if that club goes bust and Garnacho just becomes a free agent, but maybe we can get a percentage of a signing fee. Who knows? But yeah, Chelsea, you're in some deep shit. So a little bit ridiculous. I'm not one of these people who's like, if we finish second when Chelsea finish first, I want the title to be ours. I'm not one of those people. You guys know that. But bans and points deductions and stuff with City, I just want to take away all their trophies. That's all I want with City. Just take away the trophy. Titanium says, I mean, if they stuff gets stripped, you can ask for it, but I doubt you're going to get it. And would you really want that? Would it really mean as much? Probably not. It's interesting too when you just in the idea of winning in European football versus like American sports, for instance, like Super Bowl. Like you have to play a game to win or lose the Super Bowl. Winning the league and like Premier League, for instance, you might not even have to play. You could be sitting there twiddling your thumbs and find out if you win or lose. It's interesting the way that dynamic works. Obviously, I know this is how it works. It's very interesting, the differences and things. Yeah, everything City won gets an asterisk. Just take away all their trophies and their records, and I'll be fine. You don't have to ban them. You don't have to fine them. Just take away everything they won. Basically, just wipe the slate clean and say, there you go. Now try again and do so legally, and we'll see how you do. Oh boy. All right. Let's talk about this match for a second, because that's why we're here, right? Guys, make sure you like and make sure you're subscribing. So let's look at a little head-to-head. So we know that Ruben Amorim's sort of had Pep's number in recent years, not just at United. Obviously, we had a 0-0 draw with them in April, but he did go to the Etihad and grab all 3 points last December. And very early on in his United tenure, he went there and beat them. And then obviously we got the big FA Cup win before that. That was under Ten Hag. I did see that Pep has only beaten Ruben Amorim once in 5 meetings of the two clubs, so as managers. So interesting stuff. So obviously we lost. I think they got like a win at Sporting, but obviously there's that big win against City in the Champions League last year. Big up, Mad Hatter. Welcome. Chelsea in trouble, 20-point deduction for Everton. Right? That's like the only comment and the only comments I've seen under these posts have all just been, well, Everton are relegated now. Oh man, the sport's crazy sometimes. So, but yeah, so Amorim's kind of got Pep's number, and obviously City are struggling right now. Their first match of the season against Wolves, it kind of looked like business as usual for them. 4-0 win, but kind of went off the rails a little bit after that. They've lost back-to-back games in the league, just scoring once in both those games. They probably welcomed the international break with open arms, just to kind of catch their breath and regroup, because they were on the back foot for sure. Spurs put 2 past them and kept a clean sheet. A late winner from Gruda saw Brighton take all 3 points just before the break. And what this means actually is now City are 4 spots below us in the table, sitting in 13th with just 3 points and just a positive 1 goal differential. Now, I know it's early doors, but when was the last time we could say that about us in City, that we were above them in the table going into a derby? Like, it has been a minute. I think they are also struggling a little bit, City, to get a handle on Pep's latest tactical kind of overhaul, especially when it comes to teams who use a high press. You guys know Pep does pretty much just overhaul his tactics every single season, because he just goes and gets players and he just throws away the old ones. And that's basically his MO. This year, he's added a little bit of Jurgen Klopp to his tactics. So he obviously got Pep Linders from Liverpool, so that probably has something to do with it as well. They are definitely trying to pay more vertical and more quick transition, with intensive counterattacks, counter pressing as well. They're basically direct, but with more control. So it's Jurgen Klopp with Pep's sort of kind of patience, I guess. But basically, like most other sides, they want to win the ball back quickly. They want to get it forward faster with more vertical passings. And instead of cycling it around with, just boring Pep tiki-taka stuff that we saw years past, he's trying to get it forward a little quicker. Basically the same thing, like I said, that teams like Forest and Newcastle do, or Wolves. But Pep, just needed to get nearly 10 players in 6 months to do it. Basically, that's what you need to do that. At least it's a step up from his tactics from a couple years ago, when City's game plan was just to commit cynical fouls left and right. You guys remember that nonsense? That did my head in. The fact that they just got away with it, like, throw out more cards, refs. Like, it was so annoying. And you noticed back when they were doing that, it was every time it was a different City player, so there was no risk of accumulation. Freaking annoying, dude. Freaking annoying. Let's see what we got. Let me get caught up on the chat here. Danny's going 2-all prediction. Yeah, get your thoughts in on the poll here, because we're going to go through some of this other stuff here. Bexy says, if United are diligent tomorrow, they win the game. Yeah, and we'll talk about my tactics and what I want us to do. For me, I don't really think we need to change a whole lot. We just need to maintain the intensity and the tempo, and I think we'll be all right. So as far as what we can expect, as far as threats from City, obviously Haaland can always be a threat, especially in the box. You definitely don't want to just leave him unmarked. I trust De Ligt. If Maguire starts, trust those guys to handle that. Maguire, I thought, did very well against to contain Haaland last season. Reinders, obviously quality. He's not as good as peak De Bruyne was, but Reinders, I think he's got a little bit more mobility to him in and around those areas. De Bruyne, I think he was fast on the run, but mobility-wise and quickness in the middle of the park, I think Reinders has got that a little bit. But they have a lot of quality players, despite the narrative that the media might want you to believe right now. Pep's out here talking about how difficult it is to bring in 12 new players in just 4 or 5 months. Yeah, okay, cry me a river. They do have a lot of injuries, though. Cherky's out for a while, so he's not going to get that revenge that he was talking all that good shit about. Marmoush is going to be out as well, knee surgery, it looks like, on international duty. Nori is out, confirmed as well. I've seen that also Foden, Kovacic, Guardiola, Savinho, Bettinelli, Rico Lewis, O'Reilly, and Kushinov are all at risk. John Stones is a doubt as well. So they do have quite a few injuries. But at the end of the day, do we really feel bad for that? I don't really feel bad about that at all. Danny's getting his 11 in. All right, I'm going to come back to that, Danny. Hold on a second. I did. So Rob Taff actually pointed me out that the presser was today. And I mean, I appreciate that, Rob, if you're watching. The presser was super boring, so I'm not really going to care about a whole lot of what Amorim had to say. The pressers are there's like a waste of time, I feel like. As far as United go, I doubt we're going to be as lucky as Spurs. City committed a few errors that Spurs really took advantage of, which basically almost gifted them goals. I don't think we're just going to get lucky. City don't make a ton of mistakes, but I think we can force a little bit of that sloppiness again by pressing high. Spurs pressed high; they forced a lot of errors. So especially when it came to James Trafford. Now, it could be different now that Donnarumma is here, but Trafford, if Donnarumma doesn't start and Trafford starts, he's not Ederson. Donnarumma is not even really Ederson when it comes to just what the way City have built out from the back. Trafford, Donnarumma, they're just inferior compared to Ederson in terms of just being comfortable on the ball. You press them, you could force errors, you could force them to kick it long. Maybe they even kick it out of touch. Who knows? But again, this has also seen their ability to play that long ball diminish a bit, get that ball out. Their attackers are having to drop a little deeper to come get more involved, which again, when you're facing your own goal to get the ball, you're opening yourself up to losing it very quickly. Spurs were all over City and they pressed man to man and it worked really well. I like to see again, like what I'm saying is we don't need to do a whole lot that's different. We're like highest in the league right now with XG. We got a lot of touches in the box. We're up there. Shots, I think only 2 teams in Europe have more shots than us. I think Barca and Madrid are the only teams in Europe have more shots. We need to just finish those chances. And I'd like to see us press a little bit. Press wisely. Don't just chase the ball down or anything, but press. I saw a graphic this week too that United are actually the most direct attacking team in the league. So again, we're doing everything we need to do. It just needs to start clicking. And I did not love that the international break came right when Mbeumo was getting on the score sheet and Šeško was getting a couple more minutes. Again, go hard from the opening whistle, play like we've been playing, and just convert the chances. And I think we'll be fine. It will click. And when it does, I think we're going to be really, really dangerous. I don't know what you guys think. It doesn't sound like Cunha, Dallo, and Mount are going to be fit. Cunha and Mount specifically, just that's going to be a bit of a miss for us the way those two were playing, unfortunately. That's going to be a bit of a blow. And so this is, guys, let me know your starting 11. I want to know what you guys are going to think here. Rob says we're going to win the league. 21 is coming, says Rob. Teresa says, in my opinion, City have a load of injuries plus a load of tired players. No match for United. It's going to be the pot. I'm positive. As you can see from the thumbnail, we can easily beat this. This is probably the most beatable City have been in a long time. But Grimsby were supposed to be beatable as well. No offense, and we definitely were not the best team on the day there. Like it says, we shut out Savinho, Haaland, Gvardiol, another Šeško, Zirkzee, Patrick Dorgu, all the pressure. Yeah, man, we need to just go hard, man. Press them high up the pitch. Yeah, if we could press them, we saw that caused problems. Now, again, the difference was Trafford versus Donnarumma. Is Donnarumma better on the ball than Trafford? You guys can be the judge of that. Trafford is definitely not Ederson. Teresa thinks Haaland be contained. United win 3-1. Yeah, get your starting 11 in. Let me go back up to what Danny wanted. So this is Danny's starting list. Is this who you want, Danny, or is this who you think is going to be? So Danny's throwing Bindier, Yoro, De Ligt, Mazraoui, Dorgu, Ahmad, Casemiro, Menu, Bruno, and Mbeumo, Šeško is his lineup. So going hard. Good little midfield too. I like that. Bruno likes to press high. So for me, Bruno is definitely going to start in the 10 because I think that's obviously his best position. I think that's where I want him. I think that we might look better with Mbeumo, potentially Šeško, with Bruno creating and not just Cunha running. Now, Cunha's not bad, but I think that it could definitely help get some more chances for these guys so they're not having to do all the work for themselves necessarily. I think you can exploit those weaknesses again and create chances because he does press high and he's pretty intense. And I think that caused City problems against Spurs. I want goals though. Bruno higher up the pitch typically means goals. And with Mbeumo scoring before the break, Šeško, I think, looking hungry. Šeško looks good. I saw some clips from international duty. Like the guy looks good. Just needs to break that duck. Mount not high up there, not involved. So again, Bruno. The question then, Bruno moving Bruno up the pitch. What do you do with midfield? It's Ugarte, Menu for me personally. I think I'd like to see Ugarte get some more minutes. I think we missed him against Spurs in the final, and I do think I'd like to see Menu on the ball, dropping deep. What I want to see from Menu is I want to see him doing more of what he's going to have to do in this midfield in the future. Dropping deep, being in charge of carrying that ball at the pitch and facilitating the attack, building up from the back. It's what I like his press resistance. I like his ability on the ball. If he can improve in his passing range, it would be excellent. But do we trust the midfield of Kabi and Casemiro? Probably not, but I do trust the midfield of Casemiro or Kabi and Ugarte more. There's a little bit more mobility there, a little bit more energy there, and Ugarte can do a lot of the heavy lifting. So I think I might be going with Mainu and Ugarte, in which, coincidentally, they were the pivot when we beat City 2-1 last December. It was Mainu and Ugarte that match. So I do like that pivot. If Ugarte, he needs to get minutes. We need everybody to be fresh and ready to go. Casemiro's been playing a lot. He did get back from international duty a little earlier because he was suspended, but and Cass is looking more fit than he has been, but I think that I'd like to see Ugarte in this one a little bit. I want to disrupt. That's my goal here, is to disrupt. And Casemiro is not necessarily a disruptor, if that makes sense. Let me get caught up here. Oh boy. I Am Titanium says, I have a sickening feeling Savinho scores from a corner. Well, it's pretty much put money down that someone's going to score from a corner against us, because that's just the way we roll. Bexy agrees with me. I'd play Ugarte and Mainu in midfield, Bruno as a 10. Yep, that's pretty much what I'm going. I do like Ugarte in there. I don't need Ugarte. If you can find Mainu, if you can find Bruno, I think Bruno can drop a little deeper, collect that ball, and turn and find somebody. Yeah, he's going with them as well. Rob says Mainu has to start. I don't know if Mainu has to start. Like, I'm not one of these people who's like, let's play Kabi. He's got to start. We got to keep him happy. But this is a game with Bruno moving up. I don't want Ugarte and Casemiro next to each other personally. And like I said, Mainu and Ugarte were the pivot last season when we beat City in that December derby. Yes, thank you, Rob. Please hit that like and subscribe buttons. Yes, please do. So we'll see how it goes. I love Ugarte's attitude. His decision-making and his sloppiness in recent weeks is a bit of a worry, but I don't need him to, like, when he's playing next to Bruno, sometimes it could be a little difficult because Bruno can get caught out a little bit, it is what it is. I've never said I choose to put Bruno in the pivot. That's just all I've said is this system, the players we signed, that's where Bruno is going to play. The sooner we can all just accept it and stop complaining about it, the less aggravated we'll probably be on a regular basis. It is what it is at this point. Again, one of those decisions that's going to make or break Amorim potentially. So you just got to let it go. Us complaining about it is not going to change it. I Am Titanium is a Casemiro, Mainu in middle, Bruno and Brumo as the 2 10s. Yeah. I worry if Casemiro and Mainu are too slow individually that it wouldn't work. That's why I'm leaning a little more towards Ugarte, but who knows? Again, there's no right or wrong answer. Amorim did say Binder is going to start in his presser. That's probably the biggest takeaway of the presser. So no Senelamans yet, which it is what it is. I would have started Senelamans, but maybe he's just, I don't know. Next match is Chelsea. After that, maybe Sunderland is a better one to start him. I don't know. I'm of the mindset where he's going to have to play City eventually. He's going to have to play tough opposition eventually. This is probably the easiest City side to place at the moment. I'm not saying it's guaranteed, but he's going to have to learn eventually. We can't just, protect him like he's some little sheltered child. He's going to have to figure it out. And so he's better than Binder. He's better than Onana for sure. Just let him cook. That's all we need to do. Licha, I read, could also be included in the squad. We'll see what that means or not. I've just read that from a couple different outlets. So we'll see if anything comes of that. Romano did claim, though, today that Licha is set for contract talks with United, fresh contract negotiations. So I wonder if that means United are convinced that, his injuries are not going to be that big a deal. He came back very, very soon from the whole ACL situation, a lot sooner than I thought he was. I mean, it's mid-September, and there's potential he could already be in the squad. So we'll see what that means. But maybe that's a good sign that they're not too worried about long-term injuries. I don't know. You guys tell me what you think about that one. Dylan and I went through our preferred starting 11s for the season. I had question marks over Licha's long-term fitness. Dylan was kind of operating under the assumption, like, if everyone's fit, we'll go with Licha. Licha's got to convince me now that the ACL, the foot, the knee, all that stuff, he's got to convince me that those aren't going to be long-term issues. And it isn't his fault necessarily, but at the same time, I'm trying to think about the club, and we can't afford to have more of these injury-prone players. So we'll see what happens. Um, even without, even if City had everyone fit, I'd still back us to win this one because I do think they just don't look good. They haven't looked good in a while, and Pep should probably be feeling a little bit more under pressure than he is. Um, you get your starting 11 predictions as we keep going, but I want to know also your score predictions. You guys, let me know your score predictions for this one. I'm going 2-1 United. It seems to be our when we do win, it seems to be the score line. So you guys, let me know what your scores are. I mean, we have to start putting these chances away at some point. You're right. Statistically, we've got to accidentally score one of these chances. Where it got the best XG, touches in the boxes, shots. Again, in the top 5 leagues, only Real Madrid and Barcelona have more shots than we do. We've got to like accidentally score one of these at some point. We'll see though. I mean, once it clicks, I think we'll start to see something really, really exciting. It has to start clicking. I'm going to be interested to see how Pep approaches this one with so many players missing. But if you're waiting for me to get out the violin for all their injuries, you could be there a while because I do not care. Never in my life have I or will I ever feel sympathy for Man City when it comes to shit like that. Bexy says, if City lose tomorrow, I think Pep's head could be on the block. I think he's got a lot of, I guess you could call it credit in the bank with the trophies that they've won, but it all becomes about who would replace him. I don't know who they would bring in to work with the players that they have and whatnot. I mean, you could say they could roll the dice on someone like an Iraola or something, or a Glasner perhaps, but I don't know. We'll see. Rob's going with 3-2. Mbumo on fire. I like the positivity. Yeah, guys, members, check out the new Mbumo emoji that you guys have access to now. I just put that in yesterday. Go check that one out. Like it says, it's going to be either 2-2 or 2-3. Put goals away easily. Interesting. Rob says, another loss for City, and it has to be Pep's worst start to a season. They have to go to Arsenal the following week. Yeah. Again, I don't feel any sympathy for them at all, honestly. But hey, if Arsenal beat them, that's pretty much their trophy for the year. Because last year Arsenal's trophy was knocking Madrid out of the Champions League. That was their best achievement last year. So it is what. Hey, moving up in the world, right? Who's under more pressure in this one though, Amorim or Pep? Pep hasn't looked quite up for it. Amorim, I think, does have his number a bit, but Amorim also needs to start getting results, and a win at the Etihad would be massive for us right now. And back-to-back league wins could be excellent. Now, I predicted that Sunderland and Brentford were going to be our first back-to-back league wins under Amorim. I did that last week in the Kickabout special. Go watch that if you guys haven't yet. I did lose internet for a hot second, but thankfully Dylan was there to pick up the slack. So big up, Dylan. Don't think I didn't see you trying to take over the channel, though. I see you, Dylan. But a win against City that would be so huge for us right now. I think morale-wise, going into Chelsea as well, I think that would be massive. And who knows? Maybe Tyrell Malacia could start. Apparently, he's registered with the squad now, so we can see Malacia in the squad. Who knows, dude? Bexy says, if United score early, it will put a lot of pressure on them. And Rob found the Mbumo emoji. Here's where I want your guys' help, though, for a second. Hold on. I'm going to put this on the screen. So you guys know I don't really do fantasy. I do Super Brew score predictions, though, if you guys ever heard of Super Brew predictions. So I'm going to put this on the screen real quick so you guys can help me out here. Hold up. There we go. So you guys get to help me predict the Premier League scores for the weekend. So Super Brew, I've been playing this for a while. So basically, you just predict the scores, and if you get a certain number of them exactly right, you can win money, you can win a jersey. I think I got the best I did was I think I was one less. If I had gotten one more exact prediction right on a weekend, I think I would have won some money, but that was probably like 4 or 5 years ago. But it's free, and it helps me with the dissonance, so you guys can help me. So if I go through and pick, so what do you guys think we'll go through each one for the win here help me predict the score. Arsenal versus Forest. What do you guys think the score is going to be for that one? So Arsenal are coming off of a loss, but they've got 2 wins, and then we've got Forest, who just hired Ange. Could they get a new manager bounce? What do you guys see the score for this one as well. Let me know in the chat, and I will go ahead and put that score, and I'll let you guys pick this for me. If I win, we'll hook you guys up with a giveaway. If we lose, then channel's done. But what are your predictions for Arsenal Forest? What's the score line going to be? We'll go through each one here. Can't trust those teachers lie to the kids all the time, says Rob. Yeah, got to watch them. We got Bournemouth, Brighton. I'm going to go ahead and predict that one. I'm going to say Bournemouth are going to get 2, Brighton are going to get 1. Let me know your Arsenal Forest predictions, you guys. First one to put one in there, I'll put it in there. So get that chat. What's this next one here? Debasi in the house. Good to see you again, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Says Binder starting over Lamens. I'm sure Xerxes will start over Sesko. If Xerxes starts over Sesko at Debasi's, I'm going to be upset. But big up, man. Good to see you again. So Rob's got it. We're going 2-1 Arsenal. All right. 2-1 is a pretty common scoreline. All right. Palace, Sunderland. What do you guys think? We'll do this every other one. I'll let you guys pick one, then I'll pick one. First person to put a score prediction for Palace Sunderland gets to put in there. So Palace, Glasner, I've heard a rumor, somebody's yet to verify this, if Glasner is in fact leaving at the end of the season, but Gehi may be unsettled. Let's see, Sunderland, a lot of players brought in this summer in a bid to stay up. Obviously, they're on a good run of form right now. What do you think that could look like? I'll let you guys get your predictions in. I'm going to scroll down to Everton, Aston Villa. I just don't see Villa doing anything. I'm going to go 2-0 to Everton. I think Ndai is going to have a really good one there. What do you guys? Let me know your Palace Sunderland prediction. First one to put one in there gets it put in there. I'm going to scroll down, and then we'll do Fulham Leeds next. So Palace Sunderland. Who's got one for me? Let me know, and I'll put it in there. First come, first serve on that. Rob's going 1-1. We're going 1-1 for Palace and Sunderland there. So you see how the Super Brew works, and you try to lock it in. So Fulham Leeds for you guys. What do you think is going to be Fulham Leeds? What's that score? Neither team doing excellent. Leeds obviously look bright, but you never know what could happen. Fulham, iffy. I've read Marco Silva is up there for odds on to maybe get the sack next. But you guys, what do you think Fulham and Leeds could end up looking like? First person to get their score prediction in there will get it put in there. Debasi's getting in 1-0. Big up. If you guys answer sooner, you guys can predict all of them for me, but you guys are taking too long. Newcastle Wolves. This could be interesting. Neither team doing well. I'm still going to back Newcastle, but I'm going to go 1-0. How's that one sound? All right, your guys' turn again. West Ham versus Spurs. West Ham, iffy under Graham Potter. Spurs obviously had a good result against City, which is going to be a big help for them. But you got to wonder just what that's going to look like. Is that going to last? Is it just new manager bounce? When is that new manager bounce going to do it? Debasi's going to Spursy 3-1. So you're saying Spursy are going to lose 3-1? Is that what you're saying? Or are you calling Spursy win? Let me know the clarity. Do you guys want to predict the Brentford-Chelsea match for me? Chelsea are doing excellent. I'm sure everyone's going to predict that they're going to win. But it's probably going to be, Debasi says other way. Spurs are going to do 3. Wait, what? Is that what you're going with? Is that what you meant? Spurs will win? All right. Brentford-Chelsea. What are we doing here? Brentford obviously lost a lot of players. Remember, they were one of my picks to get relegated in the season prediction, if you guys remember that show. Chelsea, obviously doing well under Maresca. They're doing what they're doing, except for all the bans, and maybe that's going to get in anyone's head. Maybe they're worried about that. Debasi's going Chelsea are going to win, though, 2-0. Interesting. You guys both said the same thing. All right. So I like this. Everyone getting involved. Burnley, Liverpool. Wouldn't that be great if Burnley could pull off an upset here? That would be just magic. I would absolutely love that. If we could beat City and Liverpool lose to Burnley, that would just make my weekend. The banter will not stop. There we reach new levels of savagery on the banter. What are we saying here? Burnley, Liverpool. Burnley also another newly promoted team who bought a lot of players. They bought well too. I don't think this is going to be a year where the relegated teams or the promoted teams get relegated. I think this is going to be a team where like the Brentfords and stuff are going to get relegated. Debassi's in first. He's going with 4-1 Liverpool. Put that in there. We'll see. I mean it too. If I win some money, you guys, we're doing giveaways. All right, Derby. What's the general consensus? So 85% of you do think United will win. Nobody thinks that City will win. 15% of you think it'll be a draw. What's going to be the score? I went 2-1. I saw 2-2 in there in the chat at some point. Somebody said 3-2 and Boomo to get a brace, I think. What do you guys think we could see in this Derby? I want to know your consensus. Rob's still sticking strong to that 3-2. All right, we are going to go for it. All right, we're going to lock those in. There we go. All right, you guys, locked in scores. I'll keep you updated, so keep an eye on those as we go along the weekend. Thank you guys for, oops, let me put this back on the screen here. There we go. Thank you guys. Like I said, I've been doing the Super Brew thing for a while. Debassi, I also said 2-1 as well. I don't do fantasy because I can't get over the whole, well, I have this City player on my team, my fantasy team, so I kind of, part of me wants that City player to do well, or I can't want a United player to not play well because somebody else has them on. I can't, my brain can't function in that way, so I can't do that kind of stuff. Call me stupid, call me what. Maybe I'm just more of a traditionalist where maybe it's too much tribalism. I don't know, but I can at least do the score predictions. I almost got some money once. That's about all I have. So let's see. Debas says, I know Palace will win, but I like Sunderland. Y'all, we got it caught up here. All right. Danny's still sticking strong with the 2-2. I think that we've got to get something from this. We just have to. City are, not only do they not look great, their injury hit like crazy. We've only got a couple injuries. Yes, there's some, like Cunha has been a good player for us, but putting Bruno back in the 10, we've got to start getting some goals, man. We just have to do. Rob says, Sky, do a Super 6, pick everyone right. That's kind of like what this one is. I think that Peacock has a thing as well, or NBC has a thing like the Premier League predictor, but that's basically what this is, Rob. I think if you get 6, you get either it's a jersey. If you get 7, you get some money. If you get all 10, it's like 25 grand or something. So, but we'll see. Lucky's good with the 2-2. I like that. So, what are you guys saying in the poll? Still going strong. Everybody's saying United win. I like that. I'm going to end the poll, and we're going to call it United win. So I'm still sticking with the 2-1. You guys are going with the 3-2. If we win any money, we will do a giveaway. I'm okay with that. But who knows what's going to happen, you guys? I think this is the best time to play City. I wish that we could have a couple more players fit, but it is what it is. But let me know your thoughts in the comments if you guys weren't able to catch live. Let me know your predictions. Let me know what you think about Chelsea with all these fines. They already got fined once by UEFA. They got 74 charges now, and they're facing a class action lawsuit for sharing private information. So they've got all that going for them as well. We'll talk a little bit about United maybe scheduling some midweek friendlies in an effort to drum up some revenue. Let me know what you guys think about that as well. A couple trialists in the academy. What's his face, Doba, and I can't remember the names now. Danny, you have to remind me. A couple of Senegalese teenagers trialing with the academy as well. So Vivell working hard, getting some good players in. We'll see if they stick around. It's always difficult to break into that as well. So, but like the video, please for me, you guys, subscribe to the channel if you are new as well. Check those memberships to learn how you can get involved in the channel, please. And go check out the United vs. Everybody store. Tons of new designs all the time. You guys have seen me rocking my new mug, my Fergie Time mug. I love this thing. Get some water, but I will see you guys a little later on this weekend. I might come back and do a scouting report special. I did finish doing that, so I've got like 6 or 7 players that I could do a scouting report on if you guys want to do that video tomorrow before all the weekend action kicks off. But take it easy, you guys. Thank you for stopping by, and I will see you guys on the next one. Enjoy the rest of your Friday. Later.